Howdy folks, TJ here. I have some new tool talk to talk to you about today. And what better place than on a kitchen table? Yesterday I was getting my wife yelling at me. I had this in the bathroom cleaning some parts. And she goes, I can't walk around here. She was getting a little upset with me. So, okay, I'll move it out to the kitchen table. If she saw this right now, I guess if she watches the video later, she'll be saying, you're never doing that again. This is the dining room table. Why would you have car parts and car tools on my table? Well, it's our table. Well, let's talk about tools. I'm getting my Volkswagen Mojo back. If you don't follow my channel, I'm a Volkswagen guy. Air-cooled, although we have a water-cooled as well. But I like wrenching. Oh, maybe I shouldn't use the word like. I enjoy having to tinker on a Volkswagen at my leisure when it's not broken, but I want to fix something or upgrade something. But I don't like the part where you fail on a trip and you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. That part I could do without. That's happened to me as well before. But I prefer saying, okay, this part's working fine, but it's about to go. Let's replace said part, and it's at my leisure. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm necessarily a good mechanic, but I'm willing to learn. And I needed a new tool because to date, every person that has a shop has a plastic bucket. That plastic bucket, you may have a nice brush. No, it's not for putting on my blush, even though I look fine with that, and a little bit of a wire brush of some kind. You can see this is nice and stained, and it's had lots of history, we'll call it, in this fun little box. That's where I do my parts cleaning. I get part off a vehicle. I then get some mineral spirits. And I'm in California. A number of years ago, just buying some mineral spirits became difficult and very costly. By the way, my mineral spirits, if you leave them out in a garage, I opened my mineral spirits and it came out like old milk. Cakey and crusty and nasty. I didn't think mineral spirits could ever do that. It must be something that Californians have to mix in with theirs because it was all congealated and nasty. Anyway, you normally put said parts in here, you pour some mineral spirits in, you get your brush, and you put some rubber gloves on to protect your hands. But like me, sometimes I'm a little lazy and I don't do that, and we're just cleaning some parts. And I will continue using this scenario for a while because sometimes when you get parts off a vehicle, they have decades and decades of lack of a better word, shit on them. They're just very nasty. And I would prefer not to put something that caked up in a very nice tool device like this. But I decided to splurge because I'm doing a little bit of brake work, and I have this device that goes on your backing plate. You've got a Volkswagen bus. You've got an RGB, which has some gears in it. Then you got a round backing plate. And then you've got this thing that goes over it, and it protects all those gears and bearings and stuff inside. And this thing was pretty nasty. I've cleaned this one already, and we'll show you some pictures. A previous owner, I think, sprayed some type of rust preventative paint, probably right over the rust on the outside. But the inside, we'll show you here in a little bit. I did some cleaning. So my train of thought is take cake part out, stick it in a bucket, little bit of a mineral spirit, get the main goobers off, and then use something like this for fine tuning instead of using a wire brush going for hours trying to clean something. You can let a device like this. And what is this device? How many minutes are we in? 5 minutes, and it's an ultrasonic cleaner. Nothing new in terms of technology, but it is sure is something I'm glad I finally own. I'm still unsure how well it will do for me, but in my immediate one test, I think it's going to be a useful device. I went ahead and this is not an unboxing, but I purchased them from Harborfreight, This is the Central Machinery Ultrasonic 6-liter parts cleaner, and it goes up to 176 degree Fahrenheit max. What's funny is the box is made for us USA blokes, Fahrenheit, but the device, it comes in Celsius, and I didn't see any place that you could program it to change that. So you got to convert Celsius on here. 60, for example, is like 140 something degrees Fahrenheit. But the box is made for the United States, and it came in a nice box. I'm not going to necessarily do an unboxing, but I'm going to show you kind of what I've got going on here. And this little thing, I'm going to still use it, but I do need to get a new one. This is getting a little nasty. It looks kind of like me after going camping for a week, dry camping without any water. Hint, hint, you get a little crusty. So I'm going to continue using that because, again, I don't want to clog this thing up. I want to do some kind of intricate cleaning on here that's going to save me some time rather than sit and have mineral spirits splashing all around. I just want to get the main crusty stuff off and then use something like this. I decided to splurge and they have two of them at Harborfreight, a cheapy little kind of look plasticky device that was smaller, a 2.5 liter. And then they had this one. And this one is a 6 liter, much bigger. And I figured something a little bigger because a lot of the parts that I typically may need cleaning are parts this size. Maybe at some point I may need to clean a carb or something, but a lot of this stuff is smaller. This one it looks a little bit more industrial. It even has on the side of it metal. I kind of did a little cutting on my finger. Anyway, a lever to pour out the goobers. So after you're done and things are nasty, you can actually connect a little hose to the end of this if you wanted. But you can turn it this direction and everything will flow out. So you don't have to kind of pour it out and get possibly any of the electronics burdened with some of the goo that's in here. The front of it looks good. It's got a nice little touch panel that lets you basically turn it on and off, change the temperature, and the amount of minutes that you want to run this for. And an ultrasonic device, the second you turn it on, it goes, it's like I'm going to say it. It's like King Kong's vibrator. It's and if you got a microphone next to it, it completely shuts it off. A lot of video YouTubes that I watched on this before buying it, they would turn it on and then you couldn't hear the human voice afterwards. It did something to their microphones, but it gives out a, for sure, kind of hum. Again, it sounded a little bit like a vibrator. Not that I know what a vibrator does and can do. My channel normally has a little bit of adult innuendo. Not bad, but I think it's kind of in the olden days when a comedian from the 50s and 60s, they would make fun little things that make you think about it, and they don't necessarily come out and give you the vulgar side of it, but they give you a little of an adult innuendo. I like doing that in my videos. Anyway, the second you turn this on, you can look inside. You can take this. It comes with a little lid. And by the way, this thing gets hot. So if you're going to be picking up this, don't do it with your naked hand, even though it's got a little grip. That grip is hotter than Hades. So have a little pair of gloves on or a little rag around you so you can take it off. And don't stick your finger in there going, like some dumbass. It is hot, depending on what temperature you set it at. 176 degrees is scalding. Just imagine when you go into your shower, it's like 104 degrees or whatever. I don't know what you set your shower for, but anything above that's going to be scalding, so don't be stupid. It comes with a little basket that's inside of here. Did I show you all the sides? By the way, the back of it looks like the front, less the electronic buttons, but it does have a place where you plug your plug into. And inside is a basket, and you pull, and it's got little levers that you can kind of do this with. I found them when I did it for the first time. They work, but they're very close to the edge here, so these get hot too. So if you got a pair of gloves on, you're kind of going, finagling and trying to get there. So you kind of gotta, I had them inside and I flipped them up, and then I kind of got some gloves on and kind of, how gloves make your finger about 50 times fatter? You kind of got to do this, and then you can kind of pull it out. Shimmy it off like you're shaking off your sheesters when you go to the bathroom. You don't want to be dripping on your pants at a nice restaurant. All of us do that. But then you get this little basket out, and this is where I have my goodies. Let's show you inside. I've already used this once, so it's already got some little bit of staining going on. I don't know what that bottom stain is. That must be where the heater element is. But it's there. But that's fine. I don't need to have this pretty. But it's got a nice size cavity, and basically anything that fits in this basket, it's got a max fill line, you can get cleaned. So let's put this aside. It weighs, it's fairly light. It's got, by the way, little handle grips. They don't go in super deep, but just enough for you to kind of do this. Again, if it's hot, you don't want to be doing that. The whole thing gets a little hot. So be prepared. Have some gloves on. Came with a little user manual. Very basic, but basically tells you how to use it in a nutshell. And I'm not going to show you in this video how to use it, but you're turning it on. Well, first, fill it up with water. Then you need to put some detergent stuff in there. I purchased from Harborfreight. It came with this little thing. It was $8.99. By the way, this was $1.79. I purchased this ultrasonic cleaning. It says you only need to put 1/4 of a teaspoon. I put more of that on my damn steak. So that's a very limited amount. I can't believe that little bit does anything. But technically, with ultrasonic stuff, you don't have to put tons of stuff in there. But I used this. Did my thing come out cleaner? That didn't sound very good. Whippity clean. My thing did come out cleaner. But I'm thinking in a future run, I'm going to get some of that green golly stuff. I've got some purple cleaning agent out there. Put something different in there. Maybe mix in a little bit more of a concoction that's a little bit more, not sudsy, but a little bit more soapy cleaning. And then maybe I can clean things even better than what it came out. But I bought this, and it says 1/4 of a teaspoon. Now, it doesn't say for how many gallons. I'm guessing it thinks either this one or the smaller one. I ended up doing double the dose because I did 2 runs of this. But anyway, I purchased some of this cleaner. Came with a power cord. This little white scoop is from drugs for my pet that I stole and gave the pets a new one, and I'm using this to measure out this little powder. It's just basically a powder. Don't put it on your steak. Some of you dumbass, don't put it in the kitchen. If you've got a dumbass family member that doesn't pay attention to what they're opening, they may open this and put this in their coffee. They may do some on steaks. They may do some dumb things. So a smart thing, anything that's poisonous, don't put it in the kitchen. That's probably not a smart idea. Put it out someplace that basically, got a little X going on saying, poison, don't eat. So anyway, I'm smart and I'm going to put this out in my shop. Little spoon to do a little bit of measuring. I'm going to say if you're going to use this stuff, I don't think 1/4 of a teaspoon is enough. And I would think probably 1/2 teaspoon is what is meant for this bigger machine. And maybe to really do some cleaning, put one of these full little scoops, which is about basically a teaspoon. So I'm thinking a teaspoon of this would be better, but follow the directions, see how it does for you. But I'm going to try some other stuff in here at a future time. And then it came with a little basket. The little basket's got some little rubber feet on there. That helps keep it away from the bottom of the tank so you're supposed to have the solution going completely around the part. And ultrasonic means it's in implosion instead of an explosion. I believe it's an implosion, kind of like that recent Titanic thing a couple of years. How many years ago was that? The goober guy that took people down to the what's the big ship? The Titanic, of course. The Titanic. They put a little submarine that basically you or I could build. It seemed like down really deep, and it imploded. They say it happens so fast that your mind doesn't detect what's happening. But I'm claustrophobic, so no way in hell you're going to get me in a freaking little sub sitting there doing stuff. But anyway, these little bubbles implode instead of explode. So it goes next to the stuff and it implodes, and it's supposed to help clean the stuff away, which is interesting. I don't know if technically that's how it works, but anyway, that's the way I kind of read it. It's imploding. Kids, don't go in a sub deep that you could... I mean, what comic book back in the day, comic books, I could go out and buy a sub. Or those type of things. What other things were in comic books? There was a submarine. There was a little boat. Of course, there was the see-through glasses. Every little boy and girl wanted to buy those to see the X-ray vision of their opposite. I shouldn't say opposite nowadays. It's whatever you wanted to see. For me, it would have been Farrah Fawcett. I would wear them, and I'd go, Farrah, you're looking mighty good today. Okay, where am I going with this? Okay, so yeah, lid, everything looks good. You put the part in here, and you fill this up with water. You put some of this concoction in there. You then lower this in there. They say don't have the parts touching or anything. And if they're sensitive parts, don't put more than, basically, it kind of said don't put multiple parts in there. I'm thinking if you've got something that's very sensitive, like maybe carburetor stuff, you might not want them banging or getting possibly close together. So maybe one master part. But if you've got lots of little nuts and bolts like in this thing, just throw them in there. That's what I did. Anyway, this little device, I'll show you some pictures because I initially, before I even bought this, went out, used good old this. I used this to get the main chunky monkeys off of this. And then I came in to go, you know what? This thing kind of still, it looks kind of dirty in there still. And it looks like there's maybe a little bit of, there's still some stuff on here. Look at my hands. They're starting to get little stuff. So did this work? It did. But I'm going to show you some pictures of it being cleaned by me in that box. And then of it after running basically an hour, 30-minute session, probably not fully up to heat yet, because you have to heat this up, and it takes a while. I think I waited 10, 15 minutes thinking, okay, it should be hot enough, had this stuff in initially, dropped it in, ran it for 30 minutes, took it out, and I go, it looks cleaner, but let's run it again now that we know it's fully up to heated. Let's run it a second time. Let's add a little bit more of this. By the time I did a second run, I'm thinking I had probably almost a full scoop of this, so a teaspoon. And in these basically rings, I don't know if this camera is going to pick it up. I'll just show you some pictures, but here is what kind of it looks like closer up. This definitely is more shiny, but inside of here, there's still some rusty, I don't know, it's old. it's a 40-year-old, how old is it? It's 1967, 77, how many of you do this? 77, 87, 97, 2007, 2017, it's almost 60 years old. So it's got some wear, this is not wear, but it looks like maybe a little bit of rust in there. Let me show you the picture now of before running it through this, but just doing the tub with the mineral spirits. So let's throw that now. Okay, now we're back. Now let's show this. I took a picture again, and it's going to show you that it looks a little bit cleaner, but you be the judge. Show it now. Okay, I'm back. So did it seem like it worked? For my visual, yes. It definitely took some of these inner rings and around this little seam. Definitely got some of the gunk out that was there. This is definitely I'm ready to put this in. I don't think I'm going to do another run, but I was considering getting some of my Purple People Eater cleaner stuff and running it one more time and see if running it with something more sudsy per se, a little bit more cleaner than this. You do it, pour at least a pint in here and then mix it with water, get it looking like it's a solution that would clean. This didn't make it look like it was anything cleaning in there, but anyway, it came out, I think, okay, but as I'm touching this, I'm still getting a little bit of black on me, so use it with a grain of salt. It definitely helped. I'll put it that way. A lot of the other little parts, I went ahead and put the little brake adjusters and stuff like this in here, some bolts and all these type of things. Basically, the springs, all these type of things. I just ran it through once, a 30-minute session, and I would say it definitely took off some of the gunk. So the spring looks like it's a little bit more springy and stuff. they don't look new. Sometimes some of these videos you watch, there's like here, and it looks like shit, and here's now, and it looks like something you can eat off of. Mine are not exactly like that, but those other people use the simple green or other solutions. So I may just, for the heck of it, run it one more time through with a nice sudsy solution. But overall, it definitely made the inside of here look a little bit cleaner. Some of the stuff that was in nooks and crannies that my brush didn't seem to want to take out were taken out by this. I think I'm going to stick the part on, and then when I get to the other side, saying, okay, let's go ahead and do a different cleaner and see if it helps. That way we've got, you know, kind of like your kids. You've got one kid that you really like. You're going to go the extra mile. The other kid, you love them, but you don't like them. That's this side, and that's basically what's been happening. It's still going to be a little dirty, but still much cleaner than it came off. And I've given you enough. You can survive by yourself now. But the golden child, you're going to basically, let's run it through a little bit more suds and just pay a little more attention to the second one, right? That's how it goes, doesn't it? That first kid ends up being fed for yourself. I'm just joshing with you. If you're an only child, you got everything you wanted. If you're number 3 like me and my family, I did pretty good. I got to admit. But my big brother picked on me all the time. So I still get the raw end of the deal sometimes. So anyway, this was all about an ultrasonic cleaner. Again, hot, don't touch. Poisonous, probably. I'm not going to test that. Doesn't say poison here, I don't think. But yeah, don't put it in a place that you're going to mix it with something. Try some other solutions. I've seen some other people, like Evaporust. That stuff is really good. You just stick some Evaporust in a tool that went in looking like, Phyllis Diller. You remember Phyllis Diller? Went in, still beautiful in a way, but stick Phyllis Diller, that's how it started. But then you took it out and it looked like Farrah Fawcett. Anybody my age is going to understand this. Phyllis Diller part, maybe not quite as much. That's more of my, no, that was still in my bracket. I remember watching Phyllis Diller on TV as a kid. You Google it. Phyllis Diller, Farrah Fawcett. But do it in the privacy of your home. Don't do that at work. I don't want you to get in trouble. So anyway, parts cleaner. I think it's worth it. I ended up getting a Harborfreight credit card. Don't tell the wife. I just at this point, I could save 10% off of the first order with it. And it's a high percent. It's like 31%. You don't want to keep any coverage on this, but buy something, get your 10% discount, and then pay it off, and then hold on to it. Because if there's ever that great Christmas time treat that you want to buy yourself, a present from me to me, I'll have that. And then if you do anything over $2.99 and there's certain dollar amounts, you can have deferred interest, I think, for 6 months or whatever it is. So there may be a time that I'll use it, but I need to pay this one off. My whole bill was $235, I think, for this, and then some rags, and some other stuff, this stuff, and something else. I purchased a few things when I went into Harborfreight. Yes, I like Harborfreight. It's perfect for a home do-it-yourselfer guy. I'm mostly a Craftsman, Husky. That's what I started out with, Craftsman as a kid. I still have Craftsman, but I do have a few finer tools as well. Snap-on, no. I don't think I even own one Snap-on. Pretty much Craftsman, Husky, Ting Tools. They're cool. I like some. Ting Tools has a satin finish that's really sweet. And then a few other odds and ends tools that I've got. But anyway, I'm perfectly fine with Harborfreight. So that's my video. Ultrasonic parts cleaner. As I use it more, I'll maybe make another video later. This lasted, 20 some odd minutes. You're mostly here for the adult innuendo and little fun jabs that I do. I know you are. But anyway, it did work. It's not like I can eat off of it. Like I said, I've been doing this, and I'm still getting a little schmutz on my hand. So it's not perfect, but it definitely helped. Much better than my using the wire brush. And anyway, thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Phyllis Diller. You know, she wasn't too bad looking. Look at me. I mean, I'm gorgeous, but she's not too bad looking.